I'm Barbara Kutzner. I'm the agronomist for DeKalb here in California. We are back at Bayer's Western Research Station here in Fresno in a corn trial that was planted about 6 weeks ago. It is now at the V5, V6 stage, and today's topic is the crop response to herbicides. In many of the growers here in California still use a Roundup only regimen. While that seems to be sufficient in many cases, it's a good idea to rotate herbicides or tank mix herbicides. Not only do you prevent herbicide resistance, you also have a better chance of controlling hard to control weeds, and sometimes depending on the herbicide you are using, you can prolong the protection against weeds with residual herbicides. In order to showcase the crop response, we sprayed different tank mixes. They were all tank mixes with Roundup Power Max at 32 ounces, and the other herbicides we applied at that labeled rate and then also at their 2x rate. And we did that to simulate what happens when you accidentally overlap a spray or when you have a gas throw. Those are things that really can happen in any given field. So that is why we choose those different rates. So when you tank mix or rotate herbicides, it's a good idea to use herbicides with different modes of action. So the herbicide world has grouped the herbicides into 27 different groups. And that makes it a lot easier for the grower or the applicator to make sure that he or she mixes herbicides or rotates herbicides that have different group numbers and have different modes of action. So the first treatment here is a combination of Roundup Power Max and a premix of nicosulfuron and rimsulfuron. Those herbicides are sulfonylureas or ALS inhibitors, and they inhibit the amino acid synthesis of the weeds. There is some herbicide sensitivity differences between different hybrids, and when we look at our seed guide, we actually list what hybrids have more sensitivities to those sulfonylureas. When you look at these plants in any given field, you would say there is no crop response, but in comparison to the untreated surroundings, we can see that the plants are slightly stunted with a 2x rate, but that is transitional and the plants will grow out of it. In this treatment, we have a tank mix between Roundup and carfentrazone. Carfentrazone is a PPO inhibitor. It inhibits the lipids in the cell membranes. It is a broadleaf herbicide and a contact herbicide. So the symptoms that you see appear very, very fast. Basically, a day after the application, we already saw this kind of stippling, and it was more pronounced in the 2x rate. But as you see already, when you look at the whorl and the new emerging leaves, all those leaves are nice and green, they're growing actively. So that is a very transitional crop response, and that is something that you really should discuss with the grower, to explain to the grower that that is a response that is to be expected, but it is not. It is just a temporary issue, and there is no concern in terms of yield or quality. This is an application of Roundup Power Max and glufosinate. Glufosinate is a glutamine synthase inhibitor. It is another broad spectrum weed control herbicide. Many hybrids actually have dual resistance against Roundup and glufosinate. We market them under the name SmartStax hybrids, and you can see that behind me you see perfectly green plants. Those are the plants that actually have both the herbicide resistances. This is just Roundup Ready corn, and this corn was oversprayed with the tank mix of Roundup and glufosinate, and glufosinate really created some severe injuries at both rates. When applied over the top at this stage, those plants will likely die and not make it we see those cases every year. One of the reasons is poor record keeping. What we see more often is actually poor planter clean out, that growers or the applicators had Roundup Ready seed left in the hopper, and that was mixed in with the Smart Stack seed, and then that seed that is not doesn't have the dual herbicide resistance gets really injured, and we see that, and we can almost see it from the edge of the field as the contaminated seed basically runs out, and we see those injuries in the field. In this treatment we have a combination of Roundup Power Max and dicamba. Dicamba is a broadleaf herbicide. It is a synthetic auxin or a plant growth regulator. So when we have a herbicide response to that, we have this twisting of the plant. The plant gets very brittle. I mean, you can basically kick it over really fast, and you have that twisting. Because the plants are so brittle, you have to use extreme caution when you want to use any kind of tillage after an application, because those plants are very susceptible to being knocked over and injured. This is a combination of Roundup Power Max and Laudis. Laudis is a broad spectrum herbicide that inhibits the pigment formation. So it's a bleacher, so when you see the weeds dying, they are very white in color, they are bleached out. It is a group 27 herbicide, and in both of the treatments, the 1X rate and the 2X rate, we did not see any adverse crop response. Others refer to the label for application rates, adjuvants, the right order of mixing, and if you have questions, ask your PCA or your company representative. We appreciate your interest, and thanks for watching.